Hey everyone, thanks for joining. Mario here once again. I hope all of you guys are having a great day. It's Tuesday, beautiful day here in sunny Southern California.
Wasn't so sunny. Just a
Wasn't
couple
so
days ago,
sunny,
yeah.
but we survived and we are here. I am at, you'll notice I'm somewhere different. I am at our Irvine facility here in Southern California. I'm here with my good friend Bud. What's up, Bud? Thanks for
What's
having
going on,
me.
Mario? Always good to have you.
Nice. So we survived a hurricane.
We
We're
did.
here. It's sunny. We got a lot to talk about
Yeah,
today.
let's dig in it.
We're going to talk about the entire STEM ecosystem.
Yes.
So just in a nutshell, I'm going to pull up the ecosystem here.
Yeah.
Why don't you just, in your words, because you're the STEM specialist, you work directly
Yeah.
with STEM all day long.
Yeah.
What would you say STEM is?
Yeah. So, I mean, it is an ecosystem of products that are networkable together that you can mix and match to outfit your rooms however you see fit. In previous streams, we've gone over our table unit device, which we will go over again, our wall unit, which the special thing about those two is they can be standalone devices. But when you have a conference room like that we're in right now, a larger room that needs multiple devices, this is where the whole ecosystem comes into play. And as you see in this image here, we have at the top, we have our STEM ceiling, which we have not even touched upon yet. So that's going to be something we'll go really into,
Totally.
as well as our both, once again, the wall and the table, which we have touched upon before, but we'll go into it again. You also see that there is our speaker, which again will get paired with the ceiling, as you will see. And then we have our hub device, which acts as kind of the brains of the operation. And then our control, which is a pathway into our ecosystem, and the ability to kind of manage all of your rooms, as well as become a Zoom room controller and a VoIP soft dialer. So just a lot of great stuff we're going to dig into.
Yeah, a lot of great things. And let's start out with the table. So we're actually using the table for this stream. So the sound that you're hearing is actually from the table. And that's directly into my MacBook.
Yes.
And I'm running Ecamm software to run this live stream. So it interacts perfectly, and it sounds great, as you can hear. But that just goes to the ease of use of something like this table. That it's got a bunch of different functions, right?
1,000%.
Conference room,
yes,
streams,
yep,
all that's educators, right?
Yep, exactly.
All that stuff. Work from home, maybe.
100%.
Yeah. So I have some points here too for the table, and one of them is it's a microphone and speaker, and usually when you put those two together, you get what they call feedback.
Yes.
But we're not getting that.
No, not at all. So that has to do with the way the unit was constructed, as well as the, as we'll go into, the DSP that's within it. But the special thing about this device is it has 9 microphones, which is a lot of elements. So it has 8 microphones around the ring and 1 in the center of the device, which helps with the kind of spatial awareness of where the unit was within the room. So the unit knows how far away the ceiling is, and how it's pretty crazy, all the technology that goes into it. And it also has a downward facing speaker. So the sound comes out of the bottom and it spreads out over the table, which sounds really, really nice for anyone who's sitting at the table. So because of that separation, it allows for the DSP and the echo cancellation to work properly and effectively. So it is, again, like you're seeing now, that built-in processing, that DSP, which is not only doing the echo cancellation, but also noise cancellation, automatic gain control. So we're pretty close to this device, but if we were 10 feet away from it, it would sound exactly the same level to you on the far end. So just a lot of really cool technology happening within it.
Yeah, and the other thing I'm noticing is when I'm talking, there's a little blue ring on top here. That's it's almost like it's actively listening for who's talking, right?
Exactly. Always.
Which is cool. And then there's one other thing that's on here, and that's connecting using USB, right?
Yes.
But there's something else that I think everyone needs to be aware of when you are going down the road of a table using the USB to connect it. And
100%. And so these units get powered over Ethernet. So it requires PoE plus power, which again is fairly common in devices these days. We all want things to be easily powered by Ethernet. But when you have a standalone device, You don't usually have a switch in the room that's giving all of your devices power. So you need to get that power to the device. So not only, I mean, ultimately it becomes a USB peripheral and just that USB connection to your computer, but to power a standalone device, you will need a PoE Plus injector, which you can easily find anywhere. And this is just super, super easy, ultimately connecting to the actual Ethernet connection of the device, giving it power.
Yeah, nice. But like I said, table, this is the simplest form, correct?
Yes.
Right on. If you look back in our library of streams, we did a whole stream just on the table, so you could find out some more info if you go back and take a look. The next stream we did was for the wall.
Yes.
And this is a great microphone array. There's a lot going on, but I'll let you go ahead and talk about some of the components.
It is, I mean, when you look at it at first, you would think, okay, cool, it's a sound bar. So not only, yes, is it a sound bar, that it does have speakers in it as well as subwoofers, but it also has 15 microphone elements. So it's a pretty powerful, robust microphone array as well. So it can, again, and because of the fact that it has speakers, like the table has a speaker and the wall unit has speakers, because it's both microphone and speaker, it can be a standalone device. And you don't need anything else other than, obviously, you would need a PoE injector to power that as well.
Okay, so you would need an injector
yes,
for the wall. Okay.
You would.
Yeah.
And then it's just that USB connection. So in a lot of those instances, the wall unit is usually, tucked underneath a display in the front of a conference room, and the computer is usually, hidden behind the display. Very, very common. Right. So it is perfect for those types of use cases.
Nice. Yeah. So, and again, it has that speaker, but it's not interacting with the microphone in that way.
Yes.
And it's similar to what the table does. But okay, so let's talk about the one thing that we haven't talked about yet, and that is the ceiling.
Yes.
So just a quick exploded view here. There's a lot going on. We'll dig into everything, but we have an overhead shot here. I'm going to switch cameras so you can see exactly where the ceiling unit is. It's right there in the middle of those two other things that are flanking it, and those are speakers, actually. Yes. But we're going to focus on the actual microphone array that is the ceiling.
Yeah.
But the great thing about this shot, and I was just talking to Bud about it, is that you could see how big this room is. It's pretty large.
Yes.
And it's not acoustically treated.
No, I mean, it's not a terrible room, but it's also not a great room.
Right.
This is, again, you see all the glass here. There's even more glass in this space. Yes, we have carpet. Yes, we have kind of the acoustic tiles up in the top, which is, again, this is just a standard room that you're going to find in most offices.
Right. Yeah. And I think there's a software available that we'll talk about later that will handle any issues that come with a room without acoustically treated surfaces.
Yeah.
We'll get into that a little bit. Let's talk about more on the speaker. Yeah. Again, I love this view because you can really see how big this room is and think 20 more feet in front of us. So it's a large room.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the ceiling. Let me pull up some points here. Go ahead, walk us through that.
So, and that exploded view showed all of what's going on the inside, which it has 100 microphone elements. And awesome. Those are situated in such a way where you can, within our software, which is super, super easy to do, change. There's 3 adjustable beam patterns that you have. So you have the ability to do a wide beam, a more medium beam, and a narrower beam, which gets utilized in different use cases. Like in this space, we're not using a wide beam, we're using more of a medium beam because we don't want to pick up some of the wall reverberance. And so it's really just going to be up to you in your space. And it's super easy to play around with it and be like, okay, we're doing a test call with the wide beam. This is how it sounds.
Yeah.
We're doing a test call with the medium beam. This is how it sounds. We're doing a test call with the narrow beam. And we're able to really just hone in on what is actually going to work best for the place.
Yeah, that's a really neat tool to have too, because you don't really maybe you don't need a wide space.
Yeah.
Maybe you need something a little bit more narrow,
Yep.
or vice versa.
Absolutely. And it's also the way that, the overhead shot shows it where it's tucked up basically within a 2x2 grid, but we could have also dropped that down, and it comes with all of the stuff in order to do chandelier mode as well.
Nice.
So depending if this was more of an exposed ceiling and we needed to drop it down, we absolutely can do that. And all that comes within the box.
All the hardware to do that will come in the box. That's great. Yeah, I love this shot.
Yeah.
Okay, so actually, let me go back. The two little things on the side are the actual speakers.
Yeah, so I mean,
those are just speakers.
Yes.
Correct? Okay.
So the ceiling is just microphones. So this is where it starts to get different from, the wall and the table have both microphones and speakers. When you want to do just a ceiling, you want to keep the table nice and clean.
Right.
You're going to need speakers for that.
Yeah.
So we do have PoE speakers that are within the ecosystem that you're seeing within this shot right now, that they're used in conjunction. It keeps everything nice and clean. The ecosystem knows this is what's in it. But also something to take note of is, say if you have a room where you want to do a ceiling microphone, but you already have existing speakers in the space. All good.
Yeah.
We're going to touch upon the hub in a little bit, where the hub has the ability to bring in external speakers.
Okay.
So whether you're using our speaker, which is the thing, obviously it gets coupled with the ceiling.
Right.
Just a speaker, just a microphone works well together.
Yep.
Or if you have external speakers that are pre-existing, you could bring those in and still use the ceiling.
Yeah, and I think that's a good segue to talk about multiple stem microphones in a conference room. You mentioned the hub to bring it all together. But the other thing that we talked about was this idea of being able to adjust the sound of the room through software.
Yeah.
And that is through something called Room Adapt.
Yeah,
right?
let's go into it.
Yeah. I think we got a little video here of it.
Yes. So what Room Adapt is after you have set up your conferencing space with whatever units that are in your space, you will be able to, within the software, you have brought them all into the room together. So now it's working in unison as one big giant USB peripheral. You're pressing the Room Adapt button within that software, and the units in the space are actually going to send out a chirping signal, and they're basically measuring the RT60 number of the room, which is the reverberant signature of the room. No room is really created exactly equal. So that signature is going to be kind of different. And what the units will do is then they'll give these other types of chirps where the units are calibrating themselves to the space that they're in. So they're using that number to adapt to the room that they're in. But I will say, this isn't like a magic bullet. It's not like being able to put a table or a ceiling in a concrete box and just have it sound like you are on your cell phone. But the big difference is if you have rooms with slightly different acoustics and you have the same solutions in each room, the Room Adapt is going to kind of change it in a way to be able to all of them sound pretty much uniform. So it's a really cool tool.
Yeah, so no matter, like, a lot of folks don't realize if they have a conference room that has hardwood floors, that's a very, very reflective surface.
It's very reflective.
Or all windows. Or maybe one side all windows, like almost this whole thing is a window. And that's the reflection on that could be pretty. So to have that kind of software available is also a true benefit to having an ecosystem like STEM. So,
yeah, absolutely.
And then bringing it all in. Okay, so we've got, let's say we have, I don't know, let's say we have two ceilings in here. We have a wall array. We have two tables. And we're in what size is this?
It's a 20 by 30 foot room.
20 by 30.
All of that's a little overkill. Like a room of this size can be, substantially covered by two devices, which is also pretty incredible.
This is for training purposes.
Yes, and this is where we do all of our demos too. So if we're on a demo call, we'll be able to switch in between.
This is fancy pants room.
Yes,
here, so.
yes. Okay. But really what it is if you're doing anything other than a standalone device, so one single table unit or one single wall unit, the moment you add in an additional unit, you need the hub. The hub becomes something that is necessary. So again, right now we have this single table unit connected USB to Mario's computer. If we wanted to do multiple units, then what the hub does is the hub over the network, because these units communicate over the network, which is something really cool about an update that we recently did where everything is linked local. So there's no need to have a router where the units need, IP addresses, DHCP.
Yeah.
If they're just on the same network, they will find each other,
Yep.
and you can then bring them into the same room. But what the hub does is if you have 2 units or up to 10 audio devices.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have 10 tables in a room,
right.
which can cover like an airplane hangar,
yeah.
or 10 walls, or,
right.
you could do 5 ceilings and 5 speakers at that point. It doesn't matter if it's 2 or 10. What the hub does is it aggregates everything in the room and brings it into a single USB channel.
Right.
So at that point, just like we have this single table units just connected USB, if we had 10 units, the hub would be the USB connection to your computer, but it's in terms like of functionality, exactly the same.
Yeah.
It would show up in Ecamm, or if we were in an actual video conferencing call, like in Zoom, Teams, WebEx, whatever, it's still just going to show up as STEM hub versus, the STEM table, you'll see it as STEM table. But if you have any number of assortment of other units, it'll just show up as STEM hub, but it's going to work exactly the same. It just turns it into a big giant speakerphone at that point.
So it makes things very easy.
Yes.
And that's the whole point, is that this is a conferencing ecosystem that is easy to use, right?
Yes.
And something like a hub is going to make it even that much more easier, which I think is important.
100%.
Especially for those who have, small businesses, they're getting started, they're growing, and they have their conference rooms. They want to make sure everyone can hear each other remotely. It just makes things that much more easier. Really, it kind of eliminates that barrier that a lot of folks have. So.
Exactly. And again, we're going to touch upon this maybe even now. Like, we have a customer happiness department. With that, it's just, say if you were to outfit this room yourself and you wanted to do a wall unit and a table unit, which we're still on promo with these and the hub, like to outfit a 20 by 30 foot room for under $1,500 audio wise is it's
really good,
awesome.
Actually.
It's really good. And you would be able to set this up with one phone call even if you didn't know anything, one phone call with our customer happiness team telling you, okay, this is what you need to do. Connect this here. Let's access the platform, HDML on your computer, put the units together, and then just make sure that the hub is connected USB to the computer in the room, whether that's a laptop, a bring your own device system, or a dedicated computer in the space, and you're off to the races.
And it just like Room Adapt is a great feature and for STEM and for these products, the customer happiness is just as big of a feature because they're there to help. You can always get someone on the phone if you get stuck. They help alleviate that barrier.
Absolutely.
And that's important when it comes to these types of products, because sometimes, like myself, I'm not exactly too network savvy.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know there's a lot of people out there that are the same. And that's what I love about all this stuff, is that it's super easy to use. If you get stuck, you're a phone call away from getting help.
Yep.
And I think that's a huge, huge benefit, especially at these amazing price points.
Yes.
So I think I have one last thing.
Yes.
And that's, I guess, some additional features that all of the products sort of have in common. You want to just kind of...
Yeah, so and I've already mentioned that, at one point in time, STEM only you could do 5 devices into a room, and that has grown to the ability to do 10, which is really, really awesome. But there's also, you see there's like a room combined room split little kind of a depiction there, which you can do very basic room combined room splits. Like, say if like this wall on Mario's side actually was a divider and there was another room equal to this size over there. And if we were doing, a wall unit and a table unit in this space and a wall unit and a table unit in that space, we could easily combine those rooms and we could separate those rooms. Super, super simple. And obviously each room would require their own computer. Yeah. And if you brought them together, everything would funnel over to one single hub. And, so it's a little bit more of an advanced use case, but it's something that you can do. Yeah. And then just everything else is, enhanced security over the years, and just enhanced overall audio quality, and so we're always improving these devices.
Yep. Awesome. Cool. we pretty much covered everything. So again, thank you for having me.
Always.
I will be back though.
Yeah, you will.
So we will see everyone soon. Thanks
Alrighty.
so much. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.